abroad. Half a day just really means hello in the Guam language and Chamorro language. Um, Before I start, I just want to ask what the consensus here, the types of majors or professions. You can just throw it in the chat, so I can get a feel of the room. So we got like a chat here. So what's your major? I want to know. So we got secondary education, math concentration. We got nursing. Wow, we got nursing, guys. We have chemistry, comp sci communication, nursing, civil engineering, math. So we have a lot of essential skills here, and we have a lot of interesting and a good diversity of things. Nico, can you please mute your thank you. So without further ado, I want to say or I want to start with a presentation that I made just to kind of tell you guys the tale of me. And here we go. Let me just share my screen. Okay. And just do this. Okay. Oh, John, can you enable screen sharing, please? It's saying disabled. All right, while we wait. How are you guys doing? Okay, can we do it now, Nick?
It's almost midterms, by the way.
Midterms?
Yeah.
Oh, man. So I'll try not to keep you up. Oh, you even got biology and medicine, biomedicine. We got math. Cool. A good diversity. Let's go start. This. Okay. Do you guys see what I'm seeing or what I'm sharing?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So, good morning and good evening. Good evening in the mainland side, New York side, and good morning at the Guam side. It's 11 a.m. there, and it's about 9 p.m. here. I'd like to say thank you very much for bringing me to this presentation. And basically, what I'm going to try to do for you guys is to inspire, build, and empower. So that's my mantra here. I want to make sure I break down the barriers so I'm more relatable. Once again, I spoke to the officers before we started this, and I was telling them, hey, man, I was once in your shoes, and you guys could, the sky is the limit. I'm Randy Dahilig, senior network engineer, and right now I'm in New York. So this is the agenda, right? We're gonna talk about me, a little tale about me, take you guys to a roller coaster ride, and just telling you guys how I came about the item of network engineer. 8 wonders is my gift to you guys, so you guys can package something and take it home and think about it, and so it'll help you become the best you could be. And then lastly, we'll end with questions. So about me, as you know, I probably look like it. I was born in Philippines, born in Ilocos Norte, an actual Marquez Hospital. Ilocano and Tagalog was my first language, and I moved to Guam, raised on Guam, stayed on Guam most my whole life, about 20 plus years, and now I'm living in New York. So I'm an immigrant turned U.S. citizen. So I was in Philippines for about 5 years. My dad petitioned my family and I, and then I went to Guam around 5 years old.
99.
I went to Guam around 5 years old, and I stayed on Guam for about 20 plus years. So I went to the schools of Maria Jo Elementary School. I went to Benavente Middle School, John F. Kennedy High School, and then lastly, University of Guam. I was a first generation child, so I didn't have any advantage. I wasn't privileged like a lot of my friends were, a lot of people that I knew. I started from the bottom, and it was very humble beginnings for me. My parents, worked hard to give me a good future, and luckily with their hard work, I'm able to be in a position where I'm at right now. Next slide. First major was not CS or CIS. Can you guys guess what my first major is? I mean, just throw in the chat. You could say it out loud. Just by looking at me. What communications major? Okay, that's one. What's another one? Give me at least 3 and we can move forward. Business. 2 more guys. Business, okay. What's another one? One more, guys. Come on. One more.
Nursing.
Oh,
What do you say?
Nursing.
Nursing. Nursing. Okay, that's three. Well, close. My interest or my first major that I want to pursue were music, med school, or I wanted to be in aviation. So I was really into music when I was younger. I was in Vivace and John F. Kennedy High School. Me and my cousins, I was probably the last one to like singing, but you know, they're really good singers, but you know, I just caught on late. I ended up liking it. And like when I first started going to college, I wanted to be a music major. And so that's what I wanted to be, or med school, but I didn't want to be med school because my sister was already a nurse. And I'm like, you know, I gotta be different, man. I can't just be basic. So I wanted to be a pilot, but there was none in Guam, and yet alone the tuition to be a pilot is very, very expensive. So my first major or interest of majoring, it was in music. Until my first job was a work study at computer center. So long story short, I actually did my first semester in UOG was summer. I remember asking my sister, "Hey, man, I need a job, make some money so I can enjoy, buying myself some things." And my sister said, "Hey, why can't you work study at computer center?" At that time, you know, all I knew about computers was playing video games. You know, like I don't know if you guys know RuneScape. You know, I think that's all I remember that I played. NBA 2K and all that stuff. I like video games on the computer, but that's all I knew. Um, Worked at computer center about 2 years, and where I learned my computer basics, and then I started liking it. You know, I was like, wow, I'm starting to like this. This is pretty cool. And best of all, people around, you know, me were saying, you know, yeah, computer might be a good major to go in since you're liking it now. It'll give you job security. So I'm like, you know, why not, right? So I just set my eyes to graduate with a computer science degree, and then unfortunately, I was rejected from the computer science program. I did not tell anyone this, but I was rejected with the computer science program. I wasn't focused. I was, you know, probably playing too much basketball in field house. And I went there and took my first programming course. And I was also doing music at the same time. And then I wasn't doing too well. And so I asked my professor, hey, I don't want to say any names, but I asked my professor, hey, I'm not doing too well. Can you help me out? And he told me, you know, you should change your major. You should be a, you know, nursing major, health major, business major, communications major, whatever we just spoke out earlier. Like he said, do everything but computer science because he didn't believe in me, right? So I fast forward, I went to the field house, played some basketball, shoot, dribble, just walked around a little bit. And I'm like, man, should I quit? And then I decided not to. I had a fire under my belly. Like, man, this guy's not gonna prove me wrong. Or I'm gonna prove this guy wrong. I'm gonna make sure that no one says I can't do this. I'm gonna make sure that come hell or high water, I'm gonna make sure that this is not the end of me, and I want to do this. So it even made me more interested in the program, and I went for it. So I was taking the class again, and during this time I took business classes too. So I was CIS major because I found the beauty of business classes. So what happened was I was living two lives. I was going business class, and I was or the LG building, SPPA building, and then I was going to computer science building in our beloved warehouse A and warehouse B. So I'm there, and what I noticed, what I loved about the business building, man, is everyone was having fun. Like they had events, like events after events, and you know, people seemed like they weren't even studying. Like are these guys even study? Like these guys aren't even like, you know, like every night, like let's go out, let's go out, let's go out. Like how are these guys doing it? Until I've made friends and then I found out that these guys are sharing notes. They're being efficient. They're having events. You know, they're having a true college life where they learn and also build the social skills. And then this came about the birth of Max. So if you guys didn't know, I created Max, which is now called EMC Squared. Along, you know, we had humble beginnings, started with my VP, Jose Santiago. I think he's in the chat. Hi, Jose. Mary Bataclan, I think Mark Filibert. I remember the first meeting. And again, I created this club just so we can have a bit of that, right? We can have our own event. We can be known for something. We can have a community where we can push things forward and work efficiently and work smarter. And so that became the birth of Max, which then in the last term was presented that we should join, we should put in the engineering club in it. I think it was Mel and Vic that came up to me and said, "Hey, we should put this. It's a good idea." I'm like, honestly, it's a great idea. Let's go put EMC squared here, right? And so we changed the name from Max to EMC squared, and now we have you guys. It's crazy because Jose can probably attest to this, but we literally started with $0 and 4 members. And then little by little, we just grew from 20 plus members to a point where it filled the whole room up, that people were like attending from the outside, and I'm presenting like literally looking at the door and also to the class just to make sure people knew what I was saying. But people were excited that the fact that we were planning to go to Japan, and we were trying to make our own event, which is now called the Battlegrounds, which is game night. So it was really fun. It's this time was actually one of the funnest times in my life. And this is some pictures. Down there is Jose, there's Tia, there's Mariana, there's Mike, there's Mark, there's Mel, there's Vic. So humble beginnings, our first ever. When we gave out sashes, not first ever, but second ever. When I was about to graduate, this is us here with majority of the officers. And here are some more pictures, just to give you guys some idea what was going on. And then here, when we gave out our first Mac shirts, it's making me tear. And then here, when we went to Japan, we met the world's famous mathematician. His name was Dr. Akiyama. And I want to also shout out Dr. Takenuchi because he made this possible. He got us to connects. And we actually, Japan wasn't our first destination. We were thinking about Singapore, Australia. But with Dr. Takenuchi's help, we were able to expedite that and decided in Japan. This is in Tokyo University. Here's another picture. The top of me is I'm presenting in front of Dr. Akiyama how to solve this puzzle here. It was pretty cool. It's a chain puzzle. And some pictures of us in Japan. And then here's our charter day. And now here's you. I'm sorry if I excluded some of you guys. This is the picture in the Facebook group chat, private group that we have. And I just kind of want to shed light on this. And I just want to say I'm proud of y'all. We started very, very small, and you guys pushed it forward. We not only have a family and something that we could, potentially just not even think about school, like just have fun with each other. You guys built something not just for yourself, for other people out there. And tell you the truth, what you guys are doing here, you guys are really doing something big, because you're making it easier for each other, and you guys are making the most memorable time of your lives. And like they said, right, your network is your net worth. So you guys are already building that right here. The social aspects in college is literally the most important things to learn. So there you have it, guys, EMC squared. And then this is next. I graduated with CIS and CS minor. Then I got, shortly after, I went straight to get my master's and MBA. So whoever said my business is my major is business, you were right on my master's. I took the PMBA program. It's a great program, very, very expedited, very, very tough, but it's actually worth it. I was a computer operator for 2 years, working odd hours, about working night shift, night shift, morning shift, graveyard shift. When you first start, you pick up the craziest shifts, and you probably get the hardest laborious works, but it's all in the process. And then with hard work, I was able to be chosen along with my my partner in crime, Jose Santiago, to be network engineers to build a robust and resilient network at UOG. And that's what really started my network engineer career. So it's kind of like hard work and luck meeting at the right time. So start network engineer. As you can see, this is a picture of me and Jose. This is a article written about us, how we upgraded the bandwidth from 150 megs to 750 for redundancy. also collaborated with internet gurus around the world and universities, and we eventually brought in, along with the CIO and the Office of Information Technology, the first ever internet exchange on Guam. So it's Malrex and Gorex. So what this really means is it gives the island the capability of speeding up the internet by sharing routes to each other. And along with this, we were sponsored to go around the world to basically help teach the best practices of networking by learning with the lessons that we've learned from the network engineers that we've met in the internet, in the higher education network engineers, and also organizations like NSRC and Apricot, which have like one of the best network engineers to this day that I've met. Like I'm working with like really good network engineers, but man, these guys could, level up with them. So here's some pictures. This is us in the left side in Korea, Daejeon. Here in San Francisco, TechX. Here's the Filipino club to the right. This was in Nepal, in Kathmandu, Nepal. Here was Nepal again. This is the workshop that I helped teach. And to the right was APNIC, where I was fortunate enough to get a sponsorship to be a fellow in Thailand. So I learned a bit of cybersecurity there. So, and then I just wanted to, after all this, Guam was great. It was hard for me to leave Guam, but I decided to risk it on, see my potential. So I decided to move to New York during 2019. And, amongst all things, I wanted to test myself. So New York was a place. And also my sister was here. So I went to New York. And then fast forward to 2021, despite the pandemic, I was able to become a senior network engineer for Boyce Technologies, where, as Jean was mentioning, I manage, architect, and design the EBCS modulated system. So in a nutshell, it's used by civilians, tourists in New York to efficiently utilize a way to communicate with emergency personnel. And it's basically a $50 million contract. And also I have a side business now. I'm a CEO and lead network engineer that I want to someday make full time. And right now I'm in the midst of growing it. And so Unity is something I know. When I built Max, it was probably one of the best decisions I made, because I had a sense of fulfillment. But in my career, I decided to build Unity not just for myself, but to also, potentially bring people on and groom them and give them an opportunity to also support their lifestyle. So it's something of the same lineage. And so look out for Unity, guys. And then here's some pictures of me mentoring one of the aspiring network engineers at our work. This is one of the routers that's going to be deployed in the MTA. So I want to ask who here have seen or at least been to New York and rode a train? You, right? So sorry, Maria, right? So you notice all the complications of the routes, the tracks going, intersecting, all that stuff, and several stations. These routers here will be installed in every one of them. And there's about 500 routers that I helped configured, or I designed for this implementation. To the left here is Paul Catafon. He's my strategic partner of NetPro, strategic partner with my company Unity. And so we move forward. Basically, what is a network engineer? Do you guys have an idea what a network engineer is? One of you guys can give a small answer of what network engineer? Who is a brave soul?
Is it related to connections with the internet or something like that?
Yes, correct, the mundo. It's somewhat in the lines of that, but in a nutshell, yes. Network engineers are the professionals that basically built the internet, that made the internet possible, that makes the internet possible. So most of us here are technically inclined. So, what better way to define a network engineer than to Google it, right? So what is a network engineer? It's basically to enable data to pass between computers in a network, right? So basically, we're the guys that build the road so a car can go from point A to point Z. And network engineers really is the reason why these we're able to make Zoom calls and your favorite application like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Amazon, Google, YouTube is possible. Here's one of the design. I omitted the IP addresses here just for security's sake, but one of the designs that I made for my work. Mind you, this is just 2 routers, but imagine these 2 guys here multiplied to 500. So basically, that's what our system entails. Here's an example. And as a network engineer, you do a little bit of coding. I think a lot of it, a lot of logical coding. And this is an example of the code. And this is an example of a topology of routers, a collective of routers forming as one to be able to pass traffic. And this is literally how we're connected around the world. We see fiber lines. I think Guam is right over here, right? So there's fiber that's actually submerged undersea to allow you guys to have network connectivity. Here's another example of the lines that connect you guys to the rest of the world. And your favorite part, the pay of a network engineer. So I'm going to put 3 tiers of it. You can call it some HR management sometimes call it network engineer 1, network engineer 2, and then network manager or network architect, whatever it is. But for simplicity's sake, I'm going to list it down as junior network engineer, and senior network engineer. So the average pay of a junior network engineer is basically about, sorry, can you guys hear me? Okay, I think I thought I lost connection here. So the average salary is about $74,000. So $65,000 to $82,000. This is just based in New York and kind of like in a world-based or average worldly compensation. Average pay of networking, like a regular, or like after junior, you got the regular network engineer. It's about $62,000 to $130,000. And average pay of a senior network engineer is about $100,000 to $160,000 or $170,000. And this, as you can see, it's a range, but it's kind of like higher lows and higher highs. Sorry guys for the noise outside. I got my nephews. So the average, I could do this all day where I potentially can just list out these Google searches, but I'm going to tell you in my recollection of just understanding the pays and the people that I've met, and I'll kind of like give you guys a range. So in my recollection, the range is really $32,000 to $500,000 dollars per year. I've met some engineers that made $450,000 a year as a network engineer. I made some engineers that made about 200,000. I met some engineers that made 32 and whatnot. So it's a huge range. And I've also met someone that made $40,000 a month. So it depends where you're at, right? So if the demand is very, very high, especially when you're the guy that connects things, they're going to pay the top dollar for you. So $40,000 with the highest, of highs experience and all that, and capabilities and skills. But besides all that, what matters most, right? It's not really about money. I mean, at a point in your life it is, right? Because you're like, oh wow, I can buy the things I want to. I can buy the things I want, and I can do the things I want to do. But what I realized is, there are other revenues, not just money, right? Like time, health, fulfillment, and just helping others. And so, not to sound so kind and all, but money is great, but there's other things to it, and I can attest to that. So, but with that said, I want to give you guys a gift, and I call this the 8 wonders. So 8 wonders of life, growing up as a college student all the way to a professional. So number 1, we all know how to work hard, and sometimes working hard is basically, it's a talent. It's a talent because not a lot of people want to work hard. But as we work hard, sometimes we could be working hard for nothing. So I'd like to say number 1 is perform focused hard work, where, like for example, if I was in computer center and I focused on just dusting the computers, all day, every day, making sure everything is clean, then I wouldn't really be improving in my life. but I want to give you guys advice. It's to focus your hard work in just terms of growth. So if you're doing something, you're an intern or you're working as a work study, take those tasks that will eventually um, help you develop a skill, a valuable skill, even if it's, even if it's trivial, right? Like Excel, even if it's that, because there's complications to Excel. And then take on big projects, little bit, take on small projects which end up big, and then sooner down the line you'll develop a skill which could be very, 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 very valuable to your future. And number two, new challenges equals growth. So be okay with discomfort when you feel like you're doing something new. You feel a little bit like, oh wow, this is discomforting. I'm not sleeping as much, or I'm not partying as much. Where when you're in that moment, that's really just growth. Number three, this is the most famous. Every time my friends ask me, man, should I get the certification? Should I get the certification? I've met people that have like 10 certifications for nothing. Just like getting all these certifications and doesn't even apply to their craft, or doesn't even benefit them as they should. So what I'd say about that is experience is golden, and certs and degrees is your way in. So prioritize your experience and get the certs and degrees that you need to get in the actual job that requires it. And then from there, be smart. Let your job pay for the certifications. Don't go start hunting and get all these certs and then end up like wasting your money and time. So make sure you prioritize experience. Number four, a degree will not guarantee success. And I know I'm talking with university students here, and I don't mean to say that, but that's the actual truth. You could be anything you want. You could be a tech, you can be in IT, and they say like, or nursing, and they say like, that's probably the profession that you make money, but it does not guarantee success. You alone are in charge of it from day one, and something to maintain. So you have to make sure you do things to keep yourself in demand, and make sure you can compete for competitive rates, and also look at the market. That's my advice in a nutshell. Number five, your network is your net worth. Like I mentioned, make sure you make friends. I've met friends that did nothing in life and became millionaires because they knew somebody that knew somebody, right? So basically your network is your net worth. Health is wealth. So I'm a hard worker. I mean, everyone that knew me, I'm not being braggadocious or anything, but I pride myself in hard work. And if there's people that know me, they know this. But I found out that I need to be more smart and do focused hard work. And also I understand that health is wealth. Right when I started working out, right when I prioritized my health, and right when I prioritized everything that revolves around health, that's when things started skyrocketing. Like seeing Dogecoin go like this and just go like that, that's when I really, to be honest, because your body is your motor, right? Your body is your Lamborghini, your body is your temple. If you do not take care of this, how can you expect yourself from going from point A to point Z when you run out of gas at M? You know what I mean? So make sure you take care of yourself. And number seven, I say this a lot, it's even in my social media, action removes doubt. So every time you doubt yourself, like, man, I'm a failure, do something about it, right? So when the professor told me, man, change your major, like you're not cut out for this program, I did something about it. I read books. I'm like, man, this guy's not gonna put me down. I'm gonna pass this class. So I took that on with me, and every time I felt like I was stuck, I did action. Action moves out. And then number eight, lastly but not surely, risky is risky. Risk is risky, but no risk is even riskier. So risk it out. Take a challenge. Push yourself. Think big. This is the reason why I went to New York. I could always go back to Guam, and whatever experiences and lessons that I've learned in New York, I could always bring it back, and that could then plant seed and create bigger things. So don't be scared to risk it, guys, but also be smart about it and follow the steps 1 to 7. Okay, that's my gift to you guys, the 8 wonders. You guys have any questions? That was a heavy one, huh?
I really like the 8 wonders. I don't know. I feel like some students are probably crying right now. Maybe that's why they're not. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really like those eight wonders. It's like a little reminder too, especially yeah, since it's midterms coming up, and it's like, man, we're spending so many hours reviewing, but we forget to remind ourselves that we're doing all of this for something big later on. So
Right.
yeah,
And the thing is, you guys have a community now, right? So I know a lot of us pride ourselves in our work, right? Like, oh, like I worked hard for this. I don't want to share my notes. I'm like, guys, share. Like, you guys you literally could Google this and yourself, but it's fast if you guys work as a unit and share the specific notes that you need. It's not called cheating, it's called studying together. You'll notice that when you go in the real world, you do this all the time. You share notes. There's no one saying, oh no, I'm not gonna share my notes, bro, because I did this myself. No, share notes, guys. Any more question, guys?
Did you get my message in the chat, Randy?
Hold on, I was in the middle of doing things, presenting. Give me a second. How do I go to the chat here? I mean, I feel like Manamku here. What is going on?
IT can't find chat.
What can you state it out, Jose? What you want to ask?
No, I sent you a picture on WhatsApp of the first game night flyer if you wanted to share with the group. If I don't know if anyone's seen that first ever flyer we made.
Okay,
Throwback.
hold on. Let me see. How do I do this? Zoom. I went to chat here. Oh, it's probably the wrong Zoom. I don't think it shows me chat for me. I don't know. Oh, there, chat. Chat. Okay. Jose, did you put on the right chat? Because it's not showing you. It says you're presenting, but
Oh no, I sent it in WhatsApp.
oh, WhatsApp.
Just download the picture and then put in your screen share.
Okay, one sec. Oh yeah, right here. Let me airdrop it. You guys want 2 seconds? 2 seconds. Oh, right here. Yeah, so this is our first ever flyer. You see it? This is our first ever game night, which is now Battlegrounds for you guys. So this is Renaissance. You guys have any more questions? Okay.
Or I have
Any
a
questions?
question.
Yes. Sure.
What were the difficulties that you have encountered while being in this specific field?
The difficulty is the upkeeping with specific types of networks. Sometimes when you modulate or when you implement or install a network, you run into some protocols that engineers are used to, and so you have to deal with the type of network they're dealing with, and it's kind of like a nightmare sometimes because you're like dealing with what they built, and you're also trying not to offend them. So you're saying, you're trying to work with what they have, and you're also trying to make sure that what you're trying to run is follows all the contract agreements and that. So I think it's to tie it all up. It's just more so working what the customer has and making sure that it ties towards the goal of the project. And also, I think deadlines, deadlines is very it's stressful, but you get better at it. Thanks, Sean. You guys have
Wait,
any more questions?
I have
Yeah,
a
go ahead.
follow-up question. So like, how can you describe your routine, your daily routine as a senior network engineer?
I get up. I'm just kidding. So
I hope
yeah, I
so.
wake up. No, I wake up, get ready, go to work, and then brief my members, brief my subordinates, and I tell them, hey, this is what has to happen, and the people that's relying on my design and all that, and kind of do a debrief with my team, And then I also debrief with upper down management, and I debrief with the people that's also in charge of other things like the application side of things. And then I also debrief with our client, and that's just like an ongoing cycle. And then it's mainly planning and then prioritizing which is on the, I guess, top of the list items, and then communicating that to the stakeholders. And that's really my schedule. And then after I'm done with that, I go to the gym and I make sure I, you know, eat a good amount of food, like healthy types of food. And so that's really just my routine from Monday to Friday. And then after hours, I work on my, or in between hours, I work for my business. So yeah, I work about like 60 plus hours a week sometimes, or even more than 70 sometimes, just doing all of this. But you know, it's rewarding. It's very, very stressful. But you eventually get used to it and you develop resiliency. So that's my schedule. You guys have any more questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Oh, well, when you moved to New York, did you like experience any cultural shock? And like, how did you like adapt?
I dealt with a great surge of culture shock. I went here on my highest high in Guam. No, I'm talking about like, no, I'm not talking about drug high, but I'm talking about like just high in just terms of feeling accomplished. Then when I went here, you realize the culture is different. A lot of people are cutthroat, and a lot of people are good people, but then more people here in New York, they're kind, but they're more straight up. Like if you don't know what you're doing, they really call you out on it. So it puts you in a pedestal or in a platform where you have to know what you're doing. And then the work culture, depending on where you're at, it's kind of hit and miss. My first job here, I worked as an insurance company as a network engineer, and the culture there was a bit bad. You know, we had a hole manager. That's the reason why I left. And now I'm managing a team on my own and stuff like that. So it's really where you place yourself at. But New York is a great place to be a professional because you're focused and everyone's just in their own little bubble, and everyone is competitive. And the thing about New York is there's great food, awesome food, great food here, man. Like in Guam, I was basic. I used to eat like chicken, broccoli, and rice, you know, watching my diet. But here, man, like all the food available because my work actually feeds us and we have like our own chef and everything. Man, it's like it really upgraded my taste buds. So yeah, that's another thing. I hope I answered your question. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you
Yes.
did. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions?
Someone from the chat said, how are living expenses?
Living expenses for me right now is I'm lucky because you know I'm staying with relatives, and so we're sharing. But mostly like the average pay for not average pay, but average amount of rent. If you want to get a good place, is $2,000, and you're not even talking about a big place for a good place. But you can get away 1.5, you know, 1.2, depending. If you stay in, if the closer you are in Manhattan, the smaller your place is. The rent is relatively the same, about 1.5 to 2,000, but it gets smaller as you go towards Manhattan. Yeah. Any more? I could say all day, guys.
I have a question. So when you first moved from Guam to New York, how was the adjustment? Like, did you encounter any difficulties or?
First of all, the jet lag, right? Let's just get that out the window. Like 12 hours, you know, it's that's the adjustment. Also, the adjustment is the weather changes. It's like 4 seasons here. We have spring, fall, summer, and then winter. And during those seasons, I noticed you have to put a lot of lotion, man, especially especially during winter because you know I ended up feeling that my skin was getting dried up just because the humidity levels here in Guam we're used to just 1 or 2 weather, right? So we're used to it or 3, right? Used to it being rainy, it used to it being sunny, and used to typhoon. So that's like 3 weathers, three seasons over there. So that's one, the weather, and number 2, the adjustment is the commuting, right? So commuting, I first here when I got here, I was reluctant to get a car, so I wanted to experience the train rides because I wanted to learn how to understand the system. So commuting, and then eventually got a car. Traffic. The adjustment is the here it's more like you're dealing with a influx of millions of people compared to 65,000 people in Guam. So you're dealing with that type of population. There are more opportunities, more things to do, but also more people, right? So the economy kind of runs itself in that aspect.
Thank you.
No problem. And any more question, guys? Anything about like your degrees and technical questions and stuff like that? Like
I have a
software
question.
development. What's up?
Guam food, New York food.
Huh?
Guam food or New York food?
Guam food, man, all the way. All the way. I just recently went to Vegas for a short trip, and I had at the first one of the things that one of the meals that I enjoyed the most was Guam food over there. I think it was called red rice, right? In Vegas, you guys know red rice? In Vegas? Yeah, red rice. It's like I ordered that on Uber, and it was heaven. And I started like barbecuing like every other week after that moment of Guam barbecue with the fenadeni and red rice and all that stuff. So Guam food is definitely taste buds in heaven, my man. Any more questions, guys? Okay. Don't be scared. Mike, can you say something?
Oh, I'm just waiting for everyone to finish asking questions
Oh, okay.
because I wanted to
Okay.
ask if you could take like a picture with you and everyone else. So if you don't mind, for everyone whose camera's off, could you turn yours on